Another conversation corner brought to you by the National Transformation Initiative, responsible for everything transformation in Barbados and beyond. It's certainly a pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to this very, very special edition of Conversation Corner. As you know, we're here every month, last Thursday of the month from 6 to 7. We have different conversations. We showcase all of the many opportunities that the National Transformation Initiatives has, the courses that we put on, especially for you, and the many opportunities that we have catered, especially for you. Last month, we had a very exciting episode where we had Mr. Krisnan Hurdle, who's a psychologist, counselor, who did something on managing anxiety. And this month, now, he will be speaking on managing stress, which would have been suggested from the last episode, which was last month. And now this month, we're doing it as a continuation. But I want to hear from you. If this is your first time coming to a conversation corner, please put a 1 in the chat. If this is your um if this is your second time following on from last month, please let us know as well. How would you have found out about the conversation corner? Did you hear it through a friend? Did you hear it from one of your colleagues? Did you get it from our email blast? How did you find out all about the NTI conversation corner? Or have you done a course as yet? Let us know. Let us know what's your thoughts about the NTI and how you would have found out about it. I see Janelle, this is her first time. B. Jordan, Charmaine. So lots of firsts tonight. So that is really, really good. So the Conversation Corner is a monthly episode. Come every month, invite your friends, and we do it on different topics. Just give me 1 minute. Just want to put one quick message into the chat. Yes, so thank you guys for that. And yes, we really are here to help you and deal with everything transformation. So happy to have you. And without further ado, I would want to invite our specially invited guest, Mr. Krisnan Hurdle, who is going to be speaking to us tonight on a very, very critical topic. Krisnan, are you there? Welcome back. You're not a stranger to the NTI any longer. Last month you had a massive crowd, 126 people came out last month. Now this month we're looking to get those numbers, but we are happy to welcome you back, Krisnan, a crowd favorite. I think you're in Barbados this time around. You're looking sharp, you're looking dapper. So Krisnan, welcome. Welcome to how are you feeling today?
Yes, thanks, Tahir. It's a pleasure being here with you today. It has been a very busy week. I am here in Barbados, and I'm definitely looking forward to sharing with everyone this evening. Thanks for having me once again.
That is good. Krisnan, before we jump in, this is a good crowd for the start as well. Let's perhaps play a little icebreaker. What do you think? What do you think? We should do something, Krisnan?
Definitely. What were you thinking of?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What do you think we should do? Should we put them onto the spot and perhaps ask them a few questions? What do you think? What do you think? Any or you want to lead on it?
I would like to know what is one interesting thing that they took away, those who came last time, was one interesting takeaway that they have actually began to employ or implement since the last session. For those
Okay, that's a good.
who would have attended.
We have a lot of firsts tonight as well. So whoever would have attended the last session, what was one of the key takeaways that you would have taken away from the last session? Feel free to turn your mic on. Feel free to put it in the chat, whatever you prefer. So for those persons who were not here last month, feel free to type in, what does transformation mean to you? What does transformation mean to you? Or what do you think transformation is? Feel free to turn your mic on. Raise your hand if you want to make a point, or just drop it in the chat. Lots of first timers here tonight. Janelle, Charmaine, B. Jordan, Carl Norris, Catherine. Don't let me have to start calling out you guys, Krisnan, to see who we should have. We want to welcome our director as well, Dr. Leacock, who I know you're on the road. Welcome, Dr. Leacock. Thank you for joining us. I know you're driving right now, on your way from a meeting. Welcome. So Janelle is saying change. Janelle, what do you mean by change? What is transformation? What do you mean? Okay, Carl Norris is saying a paradigm shift in thinking and direction. Feel free to expand on that, Carl. What do you think? Shift in thinking and direction. Should it be a positive shift in thinking or towards a positive direction or just a shift in thinking and a shift in direction? What's your thoughts about that? Thank you, Catherine. A change for the better. Absolutely. A positive shift. Yes, you're all indeed correct. That is what transformation is. And we essentially want to transform Barbados in a positive way, where we want to take a paradigm shift in the way people think, the way people operate, upskill themselves. So that is all, you're all absolutely correct. So, Krisnan, without further ado, I'm going to pass over to you. You have the mic. You take it from here. You can begin. Persons are slowly coming in, which is good. I guess some persons are now coming home from work. So, Krisnan, over to you and your presentation.
All right, Tahir, thank you very much. I'm not sure, are these notifications mine or are they, I think they are mine. Let me
Those
just,
are persons coming into the waiting room, so I'm trying to get them to turn the sound off for when persons come into the waiting room.
okay.
Uh, I'm going to make a call, so you can go ahead, but
Mhm.
I will ensure that that is turned off because that was the message I was trying to put into the chat as well to just see if that can be turned off. That feature can be turned off.
Okay.
So you can go right ahead, and I will try to get that resolved.
Okay, thank you very much. So today we're looking at stress management. And of course, as usual, I have a presentation for you. This is going to be engaging as always. My presentations are always engaging, and I like to get you involved because I want that you can take something away from this presentation. This is supposed to be practical, as usual, as always. And this is one of my areas of specialty. I specialize in anxiety, stress, and trauma. And one of the areas that I see lots of clients from and get lots of doctor referrals are for stress management. I have developed a protocol, which I refer to as the SEP-BURN protocol, and that is an acronym. And while we're probably not going to go too in depth into the protocol or the acronym, I definitely will share tips that you can take away with you at the end of this presentation. So let's go. So what is stress? Many times you hear that there is good stress and there's bad stress. All right. Many of you might have attended other presentations or heard other things about stress. There is EU stress, and that's supposed to be good stress, and bad stress, which is referred to as distress. And distress, or what we refer to as stress, is pressure being placed on the system. Now, according to how my philosophy of stress, I think stress is any type of pressure, mental, emotional, and sensory strain on your nervous system. So stress for me is not just, let's say, being overworked. Stress is not just not getting enough sleep, but stress involves sustained or intense levels of pressure being placed on the nervous system from the mind, the body, and through our sensory organs, the sensory channels. All right. So very, very important to get us going. Stress is a lifelong phenomena. It's a lifelong phenomena, and stressors must be managed. So stressors never go away entirely. They must be managed. And so we can't say, unless there might be a particular stressor in one's life that we can say, let's say that, you can probably get rid of that stressor. Let's say if it's a relationship or maybe a particular job or something like that, you might be able to get rid of that particular stressor. But as a phenomena, the idea of stress is something that we have to learn to manage. And again, they occur through different channels. Stress is perceived and is interpreted, and it is manifested in certain ways. Bad stress. With good coping mechanisms, bad stress is short term. But without coping strategies, it turns chronic or long term. And prolonged stress leaves a negative impact on your physical and mental health. All right. So again, with good coping mechanisms, bad stress could be short term, although very intense. But with coping strategies, we can move it from, without coping strategies, we will only be able to see it happening to us, but we won't be able to make much of an impact. It will become chronic and long term. Life is unpredictable, and there are some common stressors that arise at any moment. And sometimes they happen all at once. So the car breaks down, you having difficulty or challenges at work, you didn't get to prepare for that presentation, your bills due and you get paid late, etc., etc., etc. Illness happens. But stress is in response to a stressful situation, the body produces stress hormones or cortisol and adrenaline. This impacts our physical health. And then these hormones and these physiological bodily reactions, they then or chemical reactions, then affects all different aspects of our nervous system and of our body, how our body operates. So it affects our physical body, it affects our thinking, it affects our behavior, it affects our memory, affects our sleep, etc. So stress can be very debilitating, and it can be very, very problematic if not dealt with. All right. So we have some of the stress hormones here. We have adrenaline. It increases your heart rate, elevates blood pressure, increases sugars in the bloodstream, turns off the non-essential functions, slows down digestion, and prepares the body for fight or flight. All right. While cortisol, it curbs functions that would be non-essential or harmful in a fight or flight situation. So it curbs these functions like our digestive system, our immune system, and it puts stress on our respiratory and cardiovascular system, but it curbs functions that would be non-essential. All that's important when we are in a stressful situation is fighting or fleeing, or in fact, we become debilitated or incapacitated, which means that we are unable to fight, we are unable to flee, and we go into that state that we refer to as the freeze state, which is where we put our hands in the air, we freeze up, or we just become unable to function. Okay, but long-term exposure to cortisol is associated with fat deposits around the midsection, and there is also research that suggests that it can affect our memory and can also affect our cardiovascular system. So we want to definitely limit or reduce the amount of stress because it is producing these stress hormones. What gets affected when we get stressed? When we get stressed, what gets affected? Our mind, our body, and our emotions. So how we function, not only how we function, but how our organs and our body's systems function, our mind and how we think and process information, our memory. Well, that is both in some ways biological, but it's also a quote unquote psychological function. And then we respond emotionally as well. So our judgment and our emotions can become affected by stress and stressors. All right, we see here that it affects our brain, our cardiovascular system, joints and muscles, the immune system, the skin, the gut, the reproductive system. No. One thing that we say in teaching about stress management is that stress is stress, it puts pressure, um, it puts pressure on our autonomic nervous system. And so our body is trying to get to a place of balance or homeostasis. Balance or homeostasis, where we function optimally. And our autonomic nervous system, these are the functions of our body that function without our conscious thought. They include our immune system, I mentioned that before, our respiratory, breathing, sweating, our cardiovascular system, how the blood is pumped, blood pressure. It affects our digestive system, and it affects our sexual and reproductive system. So stress affects us in ways that we don't even realize. And that's why we have some of these reactions that we have. We got the sweating, we got the nervousness, the shaking, can't sleep. And then over a prolonged period of time, then some people begin to develop high blood pressure. We start to see issues like diabetes, high cholesterol. We also start to see issues like digestive issues coming to the fore. And that definitely happens when we, over a prolonged period of stressors, and especially intense stress. So moving from short-term to long-term, stress becomes a real problem on the nervous system. And so pressure put on the nervous system, there's thresholds. There's duration, how long this pressure is placed, the intensity, how much of it is placed. And with it, we can see what we experience. We think differently, affects our thoughts, what we do, what we see, what we feel, and what we hear. What we smell, it puts pressure on all of our nervous system. All of our systems get affected by stress. So what things put pressure on the nervous system? What are some of our stressors? All right. So everybody figures it's just my workload. Yes, is your workload. It can also be inadequate rest. If you're not getting adequate rest, you might not even be overworked, but if you're not getting adequate rest, remember we're saying that stress is pressure being placed on the system. So if you're not getting adequate rest, our body isn't getting the time to refresh and recreate and rejuvenate. So that is a type of stress as well. It might happen in conjunction with studying or working, but nonetheless, once you're not getting adequate rest, that is putting pressure on the nervous system. The system, your body isn't able to reset, isn't able to recreate and to rejuvenate itself. And why I mentioned a separate rest from sleep, there's resting is taking breaks from the work, from the toil. All right. Sleep, on the other hand, would be actually shutting your eyes and allowing the brain to go to different brainwave states. And the deeper brainwave states, when we move from, and I just can mention this briefly, we move from the normal awakened state of beta, we go down to alpha just between sleep and wake. That state just between sleep or wake, the brainwave cycles slow down, and we go down to delta and to theta. And when we experience rapid eye movement and the deeper refreshing and not recreational, but rejuvenating sleep, healing sleep that occurs at those deeper levels of delta and theta or theta. So we want to be getting adequate sleep and we want to be getting quality sleep. Inadequate exercise or too much exercise. Watching too much TV. Some people, as a form of stress management or relaxation or leisure, they go watch TV, but also realize that watching TV is pressure being placed on the eyes. And depending on what you watch, you're also getting pressure being placed on the nervous system. It might be stressful, it might be crime, it might be horror. So you're being stimulated in certain ways. Watching too much TV is and can be a stressor. Not only what you watch and not only how much you watch it, but where the TV is positioned. So we're looking at ergonomics, how you're sitting and how you're watching the TV, how big the screen is and how clear the images are. Excess of positive things can also be a stressor. They say too much of anything positive can also be negative. So you want to do things in their appropriate quantity. You don't want to do excess of too many things. And then the common things like conflict in the workplace. I'm going to come back to that one at the top. Effects of procrastination, bad eating habits and poor nutrition, negative thoughts, loss and grief, and poor work-life balance. Now, why do I mention poor planning? Why do I mention poor planning? Because can anyone answer that? Let me get some feedback from you. Why is poor planning a stressor?
Hey, Krisnan, the Kimo Bryce is saying task buildup.
Task?
Task.
Oh, task builder. Yes.
Yes, KS. Tanya is saying it causes anxiety. Raquel, my colleague, she's also saying it brings anxiety. Owen Joseph is saying, Josiah is saying you fail to prepare. Simone is saying overwhelmed when you're rushing to get things done.
Right.
Renee, one of our colleagues as well. If you do not plan well, you do not have enough time to allocate to everything. Alicia is saying work harder instead of smarter. And Rachel says not having control. So lots of comments in the chat.
Excellent. Excellent feedback, actually.
Yeah. Actually, this one is good. This final one from Nikita Squire is lack of preparation will not yield good results.
All right. Sometimes, many times, some people say they perform better when they are under when they do it last minute and under stress. But if you need a certain quality of output, then you probably also do need a certain quality of preparation to make sure that it is to the level that you need it to be. So absolutely.
Krisnan, just quickly, one question from Kamal Bryce. Says going to the gym / exercising is releasing cortisol and adrenaline as well.
So two things happen. You have to understand your body, very, very important. You have to understand your body. You have to get to learn your body and learn there's a delicate balance between stressors like work. And we all need to work. We all need to study, and we will all lose calories. We will all burn energy. We will all put some levels of pressure on our system when we exercise and when we study. Specifically about exercising, you learn your body, understand how much do I need to, first of all, things like what are my goals? How much do I need to achieve? And then you get to understand that there's a certain level of performance I can put in or pressure I can put on the system before there's diminishing returns. And diminishing returns speaks to the fact that you're not getting the results you want. You're feeling tired, you're feeling burnt out. You need to understand that balance between the effort you need to put in to tear the muscles and build the muscles or push yourself to increase the heart rate versus how much is too much, where I am no longer any good to myself. Not just like the day or two after, but over a period of time, you're finding that it is causing you, again, blood pressure going up. It's causing you to damaging the muscles, damaging the joints and the cartilage. So you must understand that careful balance, pay attention to the body and realize when it's beginning to hurt and destroy the body. That is very important. All right, let's go on. So my set burn protocol, we're looking at change focus. We look at emotions, posture and physiology, breathing, exercise and leisure, rest and nutrition. All right. So when I work with clients one-on-one, we go very in depth into these aspects, into these things. And I'm not going to, we're going to focus on only a few things tonight. We're not going to go into everything, but understanding that we can change our focus from those things that mentally stress us out, put pressure on our minds. Because what happens is the information coming through our nervous system, coming through our sensory organs, that is, They're coming through the sensory organs. We hear things, we see things. We call this experience. We experience stimuli coming out from the world outside of us. We put our hand on the fire and we feel the burn, we feel the heat. We hear bad information or bad news and we interpret that and we start to get sad or anxious or whatever the case is. We taste something that is unpleasant and we realize, hey, there is, it doesn't taste good. And in the same way, our body will give us signs that it is not in a good state. So physiologically, it gets signs. But first, before the signs come, before the signs are projected out or revealed to us, we understand that stress is by receiving information through the sensory organs, all 5 sensory organs. Seeing, we get stressed by seeing, hearing, touching, tasting. And when this information comes in, is interpreted. So we want to be able to change focus so that one, we're not thinking or focusing on those things as much where possible. And we can produce more harmonious or healthy emotions, because the emotion is the energetic and hormonal response of a message. There is a situation, the stimuli happening, the mind interprets it, and it produces this emotion as a energetic and hormonal or chemical, I should say, chemical response to the stimuli. So we want to stimulate positive emotions. We want to look at our posture and physiology, what is happening with our body, what we're doing with our body, how we are holding it and how we're carrying it. Everything from our posture, how we sit, ergonomics, as I mentioned earlier, what we're doing with our face, what we're doing with our throat, what we're doing with our body language, what we're doing with our posture, our gestures. We want to look at our posture and our physiology. And then our breathing. Breathing will also help us to adjust and to regulate, to some extent, our levels of stress. And going down to exercise, we can exercise again to release some of the tension, to begin to release some of the pressure being held in the veins, the arteries, and the muscles, as a form of recreation, and also engaging in leisure activities that will not be putting undue pressure on the system. And some things, again, to get output, to get results, there's some level of work that needs to happen. We talked earlier about eustress, good stress, and distress, damaging and dysfunctional stress. We want to pay attention to what our leisure activities are and whether they are doing us good, rejuvenating, and refreshing us, or if they're pulling us down and causing us to be tired and to put in undue pressure on our limbs and our organs. So exercise and leisure. As I mentioned earlier, we want to get adequate rest. And here, rest both includes taking breaks and sleeping. And nutrition, of course. Nutrition is looking at what we're eating and how our eating is fueling us. So all these different aspects, we help us to manage stress. And I usually also add to it, P, planning. So posture, physiology, and planning, and preparation, so that we are not putting, again, undue stress on our systems, on our body, because we are having, lots and lots of pressure building up because we are late or because we are not in adequate state to perform optimally. Any more questions? Take a break from the presentation now. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, no questions as yet in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to ask any questions now. On anything Krisnan would have presented. You can turn your mic on, or if you want to just post a message in the chat, whichever you are comfortable with. Are you enjoying the presentation so far? Kimmo Brace is asking, how would you go about getting good posture at home?
So we want to look at things that support the neck, the back, and as much as possible, the spine is supposed to be straight. And we are all, I say we because I am also guilty many times of not best posture, but when being mindful of it, when you're mindful of it as much as possible and as often as possible, you want to pay attention to being in a position where the spine is as straight as possible, including the neck. So get into ergonomics. We want to using, first of all, let's talk about TV. We come into the phone shortly. But when we're watching television, we are watching it at eye level or just above eye level, just slightly above or slightly below. But when it gets high, then we are putting the weight back on the neck. And when it gets too low, you're putting the weight forward, which puts pressure on the neck and on the back and the entire spine. So you feel pressure in your shoulders, you feel pressure in your neck, you feel pressure in sometimes all different regions of the back. Some of these big plush couches that I see for living room sets, some of them, they look really fancy, but some of them, they're really not that good for our spine, right, and our posture. So you want to look at when you're watching TV, or when you're working from home, that you are keeping it back straight. You're not bending too much, bending forward or bending backward. Very, very important. All right. So I have actually right here, I have a cushion. And I use this, I had a back injury years ago. So I use this cushion here in my seats at home. And where possible at work. Fortunately, where we're, I've relocated. I'm currently working in another Caribbean island. And I must say the ergonomics are pretty good there. The seats are very I think we call it orthopedic. Chairs are very good for your spine. The chairs, most of the furniture there, very, very good. You want to look at that as well, not just at home, but at work. All right. Making sure that everything is lined up. Eyes straight, spine straight as possible, and not bending too much, curving the spine or pushing in. Right? If work stress is affecting you, where can you go to be tested to submit proof to your employer? Nikita asks. Medical doctors don't seem to be able to detect it or acknowledge the impact of it. Well, what really makes stress, coming to you, dear Carl, coming to you. What really makes stress is that there are signs that show up. So either you're having their manifestations. Mental is impairing, because remember, stress is within the gamut. It does affect both mental and physical health. But within the within healthcare, stress affects your physiological, it affects your immune system, getting sick quickly. Let me come back a little bit as I answer that. In Barbados, there are some schools and organizations where workers take time from work or unable to function because there's like issues with their foul odors, or there is mold building up in the building. These are all stressors. So in the wider context, stress is really about any pressure being placed on it. Right? And stress will affect you physiologically. You feel it in your body and your muscles, tension, pain, etc. It affects your ability to remember. It affects your ability to sleep. It affects your, again, digestive system. Blood pressure goes up. I've had a number of referrals, more than a dozen referrals over time, of persons who came to me for stress, and just by changing certain things in the environment, they were able to consistently, and in most cases without medication, consistently reduce their blood pressure levels. So things in the environment do cause stressors, but internal things, thinking and worrying, that can cause stress. Why don't doctors, what do you want from your doctor? Nikita, I'd say you have to give the doctor proof that you're stressed, of course. Give them, tell them what's happening to your body or what's happening to your mind, or how it's affecting you emotionally. That should be proof enough, depending on your relationship with your doctor. Obviously, if you're going to a random doctor who doesn't really know you well, or they're thinking that, you're just saying, I just want time home from work. That's not a valid reason, just asking for time home from work. But there will be markers, blood pressure, blood sugar, pulse, heart rate. These are signs. Carl, what's your question?
Yeah.
Hey, good evening.
Go ahead, Carl, yes.
How do you deal with a situation where you consider yourself to be a fairly calm, ordered type of person, but you're dealing with somebody who's last minute and who loves to live on the edge? So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you and I are colleagues, and we are traveling on business. So I like to get to the airport 2 hours in advance, check in, go through, sit down, read my paper, what have you. You like to get to the airport a half an hour before the gate is closed, and you skid in, and you get there just as the door is closing on the aircraft. No, I can't deal with that stress. That can send me over the edge. But I'm traveling with you. I can't move without you, and you got me burned out. How do I deal with it?
So these are some of the social factors and environmental factors based on relationships and interacting with others that are causes of stress. We mentioned stimuli coming from the environment around us or internally, the thoughts that we're having. You have the conversation with the person, you let them know the impact. And if you're in a position if there is anyone in the hierarchy, you can mention it to those persons in the hierarchy. If the person you're working with is the hierarchy, it's some level of authority over you, then you just have to do what you can, do what is within your control, right? Control what you can. Sometimes we aren't able to totally control the environment, but if we can do what we can, once you can get there on time and once you can play your part, then that makes it easy for you. Because I remember not just at during my bachelor's at UE, but also in the master's, when you got group projects and there are people who are not doing their work, these social things affect us. You got people in your family, et cetera, people in the environment smoking or burning trash. These are things that can all affect us and be stressors. So it's a matter of really and truly thinking through the situation, looking at your options. And this is something that I do look at in stress management as well, problem solving. How can we look at the options, weigh the options, and determine which option will cause us the most amount of ease? Because once again, and let me reiterate it, stress moves us from balance and homeostasis or harmony, and stress moves us into disharmony, fight or flight, and turmoil. So we want, as much as possible, look at the options we have, whether it's conversations, reporting, disciplinary action, or just doing what I can, what is within my power to make sure that I do all that I can, because you can't control the other person. If the situation becomes untenable, this is something I tell my clients in these kind of situations. You have three options. You can conform, you can resist or try to make changes within the system and face the consequences, whatever pushback they may be. Be willing to face the consequences, or you can leave the system, right? And I'm not encouraging you to leave the system as the first option. It's the last one. You conform where you can, you resist, or you try to change the system and face whatever consequences and manage the consequences. And if it becomes too untenable, then you leave. Kathy.
If you're not sure if you're speaking, but your mic is muted, we also have Rachel C. Rachel, you can go ahead, or Kathy, whoever can go first.
Hi, good evening. Thanks. Great and very engaging presentation so far. Thanks. My question is coming off of Nikita's, because I would know of some persons that are accustomed to such an environment where they are stressed but they don't acknowledge it as stress, how can you then get a person to see that it's, a stressful environment and not something that's normal?
Oh yeah. How it's affecting them? Well, you have to present some level of normalcy. As what you do with cash. With cash, with money, you show them the genuine, and then you show them the counterfeit. So you compare what would be quote unquote optimal or a more healthy, or orderly or harmonious. Those are the words you were looking at: harmonious, healthy, or orderly. And then you help them to see how that compares to what they're experiencing. Now, if somebody has been within an environment for a very long time or doing something for a very long time, they might know this is all I know. And then you help them to see that this is not healthy for sure. It's not healthy. It might be normal, it might be familiar, but it's not healthy. Then they might be willing to consider. But you can't really change anybody's mind, but they might be willing to consider there's another way. Maybe there's another way to do this. So when you show them the alternative, the other system, the other way, then when you're showing them a more harmonious environment, a more healthy environment, a more orderly environment, then that itself is an option. They can see how they can do it differently, or they can see at least how a different outcome, that different outcomes are possible. And then we can look at options. How do we get to that outcome? But for sure, we want to be able to help them to contrast the healthy versus the unhealthy one. Kathy?
Hi, good evening to everyone. Just a quick question on burnout and anxiety.
Mhm.
How do you cope with those two things when you are going back into the work environment?
Mhm.
And at which point do you make a decision that, hey, I may need medication to assist me?
Very, very good question. So how do you cope with going back into a working environment?
Yes, when suffering from burnout and anxiety.
Well, awareness is the first thing. You have to be aware. I say oftentimes you cannot regulate what you don't recognize. In management, they say what is not measured cannot be fixed, something like that. But if you're not aware of how you can control yourself, you want to have strategies that you can use for adjusting or regulating oneself. And you have to know what is within your control as well. What is within my control? When you go away, you need to spend time. So when we get into the nitty-gritty of stress management, when I work with people one-on-one, we look at things like breathing techniques. I shared one last time, and I can share another one here today. You can look at taking breaks, taking appropriate breaks. You can look at, again, sometimes some of the issues is that we're not able to have conversations, so we want to have conversations where possible, at least to be able to initiate the conversation so that some of the issues can be dealt with. Because reality is that, as I said earlier, you can't fix the system, you can't fix a place, you can't fix other people. You can only hope that they change. So you can't control them. And because of that, you want to do what is within your power to change what you can. And that might be things you do, your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions more specifically, and your thoughts. And then have conversations where possible. And then employing the different stress management techniques, breathing, taking breaks, humor. Sometimes the problem is within us. Sometimes we come to work low energy, we come to work tired, we come to work lacking sleep because we're trying to do, some of us have lots of things going on, children, and we studying and working, and some of us have 2 jobs, and et cetera, et cetera. There are financial challenges with our stressors. There are relationship challenges with our stressors. So really and truly, you look at your life, you usually look at life as a big pie, and we look at the different aspects of your life and what you can control and what is out of your control. Control what you can as much as possible and employ the strategies. On weekends, not only on weekends, as often as possible, we want to rest. I said it earlier, we want to rest as much, take breaks. Resting is about taking breaks from the work and the toil. So that could be bathroom breaks. I encourage clients when they go to the bathroom, don't rush it. When you go to the bathroom, take a deep breath and don't rush it. Drink water. If you're dehydrated, that's going to be a source of stress. And then look at what you're focusing on. Sometimes we're all guilty of it from time to time. We're focusing on the problem and we are not able to change it. We want to look at either solutions or taking our mind away from the situation where possible. And for that to work, you have to be fully immersed into the situation. So when we're talking about changing focus, you are fully immersing your mind into what am I seeing in this situation? What am I hearing? What is happening? What am I feeling? What am I tasting? If you can take your mind into another place, then your emotional state, your mental state changes, at least somewhat, adjusts somewhat, sometimes all the way. And I use this example with clients. I was on my way home one evening and I was having a pretty sour evening and I wasn't in a good mood. And I realized I wasn't in a good mood, but I was like in a bad mood, sour mood. And I got a call, and this call was an opportunity, and an opportunity that I was looking forward to. So this was good news. My whole state, my mind, my emotions, my body changed immediately. And I said, after the situation, I said to myself, you know what? If I can change my state, my physiological and psychological state by receiving good news from the external environment, can I not also use mental processes, imagining and visualizing and just telling myself certain different stories so that I perceive the situation, I perceive my life situation differently. And by doing that, I have done it and used it a number of times, and I recommend it to my clients. You can change your psychological state. This is not going to fix every problem. Might not take all your stress away, but at least it can make a slight dent, if any. If anything that's significant, make a dent into the levels of mental and emotional stress you're experiencing by thinking of those negativities. I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And no other questions, Krisnan, as of right now.
All right.
But Nikita said, Krisnan, the coping strategies you mentioned have helped me tremendously. And everyone's just enjoying it. Just a reminder, guys, this is the Conversation Corner brought to you by the National Transformation Initiative. Every month we have a conversation on different topics. And this is part 2 with Krisnan. Last month we did managing anxiety. Now we're having another very exciting conversation on managing stress. Feel free to log on to nti.org.bb and see the many opportunities that we have. And we have courses in our Health and Wellness Academy, which teaches you about different coping strategies and stuff like that, how to develop a growth mindset, how to communicate. A lot of these strategies that Krisnan is speaking of, these are very, very much a drop in the water, Krisnan, as you would say, but then you also have to implement them. And that theoretical aspect, that course that comes with a certificate that is for free, can also reinforce that and teach you a lot better. And then obviously you have the services of Krisnan. I'm sure he'll share his contact as well, which comes with a bit of a cost for him, but the NTI is for free. The course is there, and then you could go to Krisnan and pay a bit to get some of these challenges resolved. Krisnan, you can continue.
All right.
Or you
So
want to take questions?
let's go on to a thought I just had as you were speaking there, Tahir. One of the things that if we are saying that stress is pressure being placed on the nervous system, and we are saying that any information or stimuli we receive through the nervous system can or does present can be a stressor. If we're saying that, Tahir, then it means that anything can be a stressor. Any information we receive, from things we hear, to things we touch, to things we smell, noise in the environment, working in an environment that's too cold, And you want to take a look, you want to begin to take an inventory, a careful look. When you realize, hey, I'm not feeling myself. I realize that over and over and over, because we're talking about awareness, right? Over and over and over, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling overwhelmed, my blood pressure going up, and I'm exercising and I'm eating well. Look at what's in my environment. Take an inventory of the different stressors and identify what might be the source of that. What stimuli am I receiving, which is causing the stress that I'm experiencing? Is it something I'm hearing? Is it information? Is it negativity? Is it criticism? Is it the people who always have something bad to say about you, or the people that in some cases you may stick around and gossip with? These are the things that we want to identify, we want to look at. So take an inventory of what's going on in your world, in your environment, and then look at what are some of the options to combat these things. So with our set burn stress management protocol, which I'm going to bring back up shortly, we have a few things here, looking at changing focus. What am I mentally thinking about and focusing on? All right? Breathing and physiology, how to change your emotional state. But then we have things in the environment, like socially, relationships, and what's going on at work, what's going on at home, what's going on in my relationship. We want to be able to change our focus. I want to focus on those three things: our focus, our breathing, and our physiology. All right. We looked before, we said that preparation, we mentioned about preparation, we mentioned about eating, not getting enough sleep. I mentioned about not the difference between sleep and rest. Rest is taking breaks. Sleep is taking the brain down. And we can have very restful sleep states. Even in meditation, people can experience the level of rest and rejuvenation that you experience in sleep, even with meditation. So as we look at focus, we are be aware of what you're feeling at the moment, acknowledge its effect on you, decide what you want to feel instead. Calm, relaxed, at peace, happy, excited, motivated, inspired, and there is a whole list of other positive feelings you could want to feel, right? So decide how you want to feel instead, and then change focus by focusing on something else. So there are three things that we do to change our emotional state. We change our focus, we change our breathing, and we change our physiology. So focus then is what we're thinking about, what we're paying attention to. I mentioned this before, the thoughts and the situations that we're thinking about. Two things will determine the intensity of the state you feel. Your intention, what you're focusing on, how clear you're focusing on it, and your attention, how deeply you're immersed into it. So we want to have a clear idea of what we want to feel and a situation that can allow us to feel this way. That's intention, what you're focusing on. And then attention is how deeply you allow yourself, or your body allows you, your mind allows you to be immersed into it. And once again, you're taking all of your senses into the experience. So this is either by mentally doing it or by physically going into that change of space, that new physical environment, so that you can feel so that your state can change. So you're either going on vacation or you're imagining a vacation. You're either going to the beach or you're imagining the beach. You're either enjoying that day off from work or you're imagining taking a break, taking your mind away from it. And some of the things that I encourage clients to do is, as when you're taking regular breaks during the day does not involve going outside and going to the van man, the pastry man. Stand up, stretch, and do some breathing. Stand up, stretch, and do some breathing. Stretch your back, stretch your neck, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, walk around a little bit if you need to. Stretch your jaws, stand up, stretch, and do some breathing. All right? For those in the back that just came on just before he said it, stand up, stretch, and do some breathing. Other ways you can take breaks, bathroom breaks, going to the washroom. When you go to the washroom, enjoy it. Take your time, do some breathing, and really let your entire body release. All right? So you want to either imagine being in the situation or you want to go into the situation, whether that's vacation, etc. The beach, being with your special person, just taking time out of the stressful environment, whether it's mental or whether it's physical, taking time out of it. Moving on. So pay attention to the questions you ask yourself. Pay attention to the questions you ask yourself. Your questions direct your focus. And when you ask yourself how to not feel so bad, you're going to continue to feel bad. You have to instead ask better questions. Better questions are positive, and better questions are about what you want as opposed to what you don't want. So better questions are positive, and better questions are about what you want instead of what you don't want. What do I want to feel? What do I want to be focusing on? Go ahead, Tahir.
Renee, just one quick thing in the chat, based on your suggestion there. Renee is suggesting that we should all stand up and stretch and do some breathing at this point in time. Okay, I think we've been sitting down for low, so I thought it was a good suggestion there.
That's
Renee.
do it now, but I'm looking at breathing next.
Okay,
Right?
so I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, we can do that next. All right. Breathing. Here we go. Awareness of your breathing. Your breath, adjusting your breathing helps to regulate your nervous system. You breathe according to the emotion you're in. However, many times because of our stressful environment, unlike little children who breathe more deeply, over time, we breathe more and more shallow because our focus is outward to the environment outside. Our focus becomes less inward. We stop paying attention to ourselves. We stop noticing our bodies, and we are being carried away or swept away with the world outside of us. So we want to be aware of our breathing. Pay attention to your breathing. That's the first thing. Just notice your breathing right now. How are you breathing? Are you breathing shallow? Are you breathing intensely? Are you breathing heavily? Did you notice that you weren't breathing for a period of time just now? So notice it. The next thing is we want to center your breaths. Take a few slow, deep breaths. And by the way, just by noticing your breathing, you begin to adjust your breathing. Your breathing begins to regulate immediately, automatically. We said something earlier. We said our autonomic nervous system, which is directly impacted by stress, includes cardiovascular, respiratory, which is breathing, right? Immune system, digestive system, and sexual reproductive. All these systems and the things which they impact are impacted when we are stressed. We don't digest food as well and as optimally as we should. Some people have difficulties performing sexually or some issue or another. Blood pressure going up, and the rest of it. We breathe differently. So we want to bring attention back to breathing. Breathing is a very, very important thing. Centering your breathing. Take a few slow, relaxing, deep breaths to center yourself. So now you can take a deep breath. You can do this standing up or you can do it sitting down. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a count of 4. 2, 3, 4, and exhale slowly through your mouth. And as you exhale, let your body relax. Feel your body relaxing as you exhale. All right, take another deep breath in slowly. Hold it, 2, 3, 4, and slowly relax as you exhale through your mouth. Let your body relax, let your limbs relax. Wherever you feel tension, feel it relaxing. Now, add to that some stretching. You take a few deep breaths. You don't just need to stick at 2. You can do as many as you need. I recommend practicing deep breaths for maybe a minute or 2. Literally 60 seconds to 2 minutes of slow, relaxing, deep breathing, right? And add to that stretching. So we can stretch now, stretch and feel our bodies releasing some of the tension in our shoulders, in our arms. You can stand up, you can shake a leg, and you can stretch your jaws. You can even massage your temples, the side of your head. All right? So you can stretch your eyes. You can even shut your eyes. But there's breathing, centering and grounding your breaths, and then match your breathing. Matching your breathing is speaking about how would you be breathing if you were in the state that you really wanted to feel. So if you could imagine the state, the emotional, psychological state that you want to feel, how would your breathing be if you were in that state? And you want to first take a few relaxing deep breaths to balance the system, and then go into that breathing to match the state that you would be in, the state, your desired state, we call it. All right, so that's breathing. Our first thing was focus. Second is breathing, how to change your psychological state. And the last is, the final thing is physiology, what you're doing with your body. Align your body with your desired state. Your physiology is what you're doing with your body, how you're carrying and holding your body. All right? So we're looking at your face, your voice, your posture, your body language, your gestures. What you're doing with your eyes as well, because your eyes can also hold tension. So look at your posture, notice your facial expressions. Am I laughing enough? Am I smiling enough? All right? You want to engage in things that can get you smiling. These are all part of the stress management protocol. Look at your facial expressions. Look at how you're holding your body, how you're carrying your body. How am I using my voice? Do I speak in a high-pitched tone and quickly? Or do I slow my pace down? Do I slow my tempo down and bring it down? Slow down and relax. Then we look at the posture. Of course, sometimes when you're trying to hold our spine straight and trying to maintain good posture, sometimes we need some support. So we look at things like backrest and looking at the appropriate furniture. Also look at the computers, and as I mentioned earlier, looking at the phones. Many times we're looking down and holding our neck forward when we're looking at our phones. We want to, if possible, bring our phones up to the level of our eyes, or where possible, use WhatsApp on, or because many times you're using WhatsApp or social media, use it on our laptops, where it is usually at a higher level. All right. So look at what you're doing with your posture, body language, and gestures. This is all part of it. Questions?
This is certainly very insightful. Krisnan, what we'll do now is just do a walkthrough of the NTI's platform so that we can show you the many opportunities that the NTI has. And then we'll open the floor for a few questions, because it's right after 7 now, and we would want to begin wrapping up in short. I know everyone is enjoying this session, but just hold your questions. Feel free to put them in the chat as well, and let us know what you think about, and if you want any questions answered. What I'll do now is just share my screen where everyone can see the walkthrough. Just guide me, Krisnan, if everyone is able to see the screen. Can you see the screen?
It's coming up. It's coming up. Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, brilliant. So what we want for you guys to do is log on to nti.org.bb. nti.org.bb is pretty simple. Come on, this is the landing page here. See about the different programs that we have. Our AI with Barbados Youth Advanced Core, the Conversation Corner, which is the last Thursday of every month from 6 to 7. Our Midweek Mindset, which is live on 95.3 every Wednesday from 3:35. And then our Coca-Cola program, and then some of our other outreach initiatives. Our Press Forward program, our campaign actually, where we seek and just want everyone to press forward in their own way and share their stories of how they have pressed forward. Nikita shared her story tonight on how she pressed forward and really became a star agent, and is now inspiring other persons to make a shift and to implement some of the strategies that she would have implemented to become a much better and person to resolve the issues that she would have faced as well. Our newsletters, which is written from Raquel, comes every week to your email, and this just gives a bit of a insight into what the NTA offers. So when you come on, you would want to click register now, put in your email, your password, your name, etc., etc. Please make note of your password, and then you would come in and you would be able to see what options you have. Once you put that in, you click, and then you come back on, you click dashboard, and you'll be able to sign in and put in your email. I've signed in already. So you just come to this and you'll be able to see all of the courses that we have. We have 8 local NTI courses: sign language, financial management, occupational safety and health, entrepreneurship, etc. So I'll just show you the NTI courses, the 8 NTI courses that we have made by Barbadians, especially for you. As we said, financial management, citizenship, which is our flagship course, core skills, coding with Java, occupational health and safety, sign language, entrepreneurship, online safety essentials. All of these courses are for free. They are for free. You can log on at any time. There are no like classroom sitting sessions, so you just do it at your own pace. If you start a course and you want to continue from where you left off, that is easy, and that is facilitated for you. So you don't have to worry about finishing the course all in one sitting. You can divide it up and then go from there. So what I'll show you is just how to enroll into a course. We'll enroll in coding, introduction to coding with Java. For those persons who like coding, you come and click it, you read all of what it's all about, and then you click get started and you click module 1. So mind you, all of the courses have various modules, different units, and you have to complete all the modules and all the units to get through. But what we'll show you today is the Coursera courses. As we were speaking about managing stress, Coursera, the online international university, we have partnered with them, and the government currently pays for all of these courses for Barbadians for free. So what you would come in and you'll see the many opportunities that you have. Just a point to note, because after the last conversation, some persons were trying to sign up through the Coursera side of things, where they will log on to Coursera and try to get it and then say, well, they're not for free. No, you have to log on through the NTI site, nti.org.bb, and then go into the Coursera platform. So you cannot log on from Coursera and expect a free course. Log on from nti.org.bb, and then you'll be able to get the courses for free. What we would have done for you is just divided them up into various areas. Things you may like, things you may be interested in: Tourism Academy, Skills for Global Success, the Media Academy, Health and Wellness is something that we're dealing with tonight. So as you see, you can get this very theoretical aspect, and then the practical stuff you can go to Krisnan for and utilize his services. As I said earlier, you can utilize his services, but these courses are for free. So what we'll do is just, if you're not seeing anything in this area and you may have a specific course that you may be interested in, so like for example, tonight's topic is stress, you can come and just type in stress. What is something about stress, and see what comes up. Let's see if there's any courses about stress. Well, yes, there's 2 courses about stress. And this first one, I think is an important one: managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress, which Krisnan spoke on tonight. So I think this may be a good start for everyone to come to. So let's click it and see what managing emotions in times of uncertainty and stress looks like, and what that course is all about. Let's click, when you come on, you click view course. Let's see, it's just loading right now. Okay, so we come on and we see it's a beginner's level course, 9 hours to complete. That is a very, very short course. 3 weeks at 3 hours a week. You can finish it in one sitting, 9 hours, or you can do 9 1-hour sittings, you name it. So you see what you'll learn: educate staff in science of an impact of stress. That's what I think Nikita was speaking about. Like, how do you go to your workplace and speak to them about the stress you're having and the impact of stress? Offer strategies for helping persons to identify and manage their emotions. Provides school staff, but this is very general. This could be anyone with the opportunity to build and apply social, emotional skills and strategies. Provide resources and ideas that are relevant during this time of heightened stress and uncertainty. So all of what Krisnan spoke about is in here, especially for you. And you get a certificate at the end that you can place on your profile, your resume, your CV. And then you're able to go through, and then you're able to also see what are some of the feedback that persons who would have participated in this course would have given. And then the ratings is a 4.8 out of 5. So it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. All you would have to, I think I'm going to do this course. I think I'm genuinely going to do this course. So what you do is you click enroll. Don't mind the start date where it says enroll starts June 27th, because if you come back tomorrow, June 28th, it's going to still say starts on June 28th, because it's at your own time, at your own pace, when you are ready. So you're able to go through it as you please. So I think this is a good start for everyone. 9 hours is very simple, beginner's level, and you're able to go through. The modules are there to tell you everything about managing stress. So I think if everyone can do this course by next month, I think this will be an excellent start. Krisnan, what do you think about this course? Do you think this is an exciting opportunity for persons to really get that theoretical stuff and some very practical elements based off of what your presentation was speaking on as well? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's a good starter. I think sometimes presentations like these can go very quickly, and you want something that you can hold in your hand. At least you can record, can go back to, right? Something that is something that lasts. And a course like that, you can obviously take notes and you can hold on to the information for a period of time. So that would be very useful. And of course, individuals would have specific issues. And if an individual has a specific issue that is affecting their mental health or their physical health, then you'd want to go seek a professional, someone like me, psychotherapist, counselor, and you can schedule sessions with me. My email address is insightconsultingbb@gmail.com, and we can begin the process. You can also find me on Instagram at Insight Consulting Caribbean. So you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on IG, you can find me on Facebook as well. But I've done a lot of work here in Barbados, and I'm now working in another Caribbean island and still get lots of referrals. As a matter of fact, only a few weeks ago, I was invited in by the Ministry of Health to speak at their wellness day. All the different departments within the ministry, the Ministry of Finance, my bad. The Ministry of Finance invited me to speak at their wellness day for their staff, and got some very, very good feedback. So I definitely look forward to working with you, because we want to make this a very customizable program, a customized program for you, looking at your specific issues and your specific needs. And having a generic thing will not be able to intervene adequately into the situation you may be going through. That's one. The other thing is that certain things need to be changed over time, and having accountability, and also having someone that you can interact with and get feedback from, to hold you accountable. Not only someone, but a professional that can be very useful. So where possible, where you find that you're to the end of your rope, or you're at the end of your limit, your threshold, you want to get professional help, whether it's from me, a therapist and counselor, or you want to find someone else that you might be more familiar with. But I can be found at Insight Consulting Barbados, or on Instagram and Facebook.
All right, thank you, Krisnan. And yes, Nikita is saying she would definitely sign up and check out the courses offered. She saved it to her favorite, save the site to her favorite. It says, yes, Nikita, we want you to enroll in a course. Feel free to reach out. We are here to help. Krisnan, drop your information in the chat as well, what you would have just shared. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of this session. Perhaps let's ask a question of what would you like to hear on? What's a topic you would like to hear on next month, perhaps? We did managing anxiety last month, managing stress this month. I know Krisnan may be a little busy next month, so we may not get Krisnan, but we have other talented persons as well that we can perhaps lean on. Is managing people something that you may be interested in? Raquel, share your thoughts. What's something perhaps we can have a conversation on? Renee, I know you're here as well. Dr. Leacock, I don't know if you're home or if you're still driving, or if you can chime in at this point in time. I know this was your first session, I believe, with Krisnan last month. You were not able to join. No, there hasn't been a session on emotional intelligence, but that can be something we can definitely discuss. What element of emotional intelligence Nikita, would you be interested in? Tanya is saying emotional intelligence as well. So yes, perhaps, Chris, now we can look to tackle that topic next month. We'll have that discussion offline with the team as well. But I think that is a good place. Conflict resolution is also a critical part. So yes, and just a reminder that it doesn't have to be next month, because every month we're back last Thursday of the month from 6 to 7. So we're always looking for topics. So this feedback is good. What are some of the other topics? Drop it. Let me just put a message in the chat. What are some of the other topics you may be interested in hearing about so that we can bring it especially for you, because Conversation Corner is all about you. All about you, and all about what the NTI is about, all about transformation. It's all about transformation, because this is a critical part about transformation. Managing anxiety, managing stress, conflict resolution, dealing with people, addressing these topics that we tend not to like to deal to talk on. And then on top of that, as Krisnan said, we have to be intentional in it. We have to be intentional in what we do. We have to go about it and acknowledge that all of us face stress. All of us have some form of anxiety that we face. So we have to face it, address it, and fix it. Catherine said, I just registered. It says I have to wait to be reviewed. How long does this process take? That sounds a bit strange, but we will get our support team on for you. Catherine, just message me personally with your email and I will reach out to you. That sounds a bit strange about this waiting to be reviewed. I'm not sure how come that is happening. I've not heard that one before, but please just shoot me a message, Catherine, and I will think. I'll also share my email in the chat that you can email directly. Tahir.bobulia@nti.org.bb. Work-life balance, yes. That is another important topic. Feel free to reach out. So Catherine, shoot me a message. On email. Let me get that issue started for you. I'll have the tech team on to that thing. Will tonight and your last presentation be made available to us? Yes, it is. Last presentation has been placed on YouTube already. Raquel, if you're still here, please drop the link in the chat for me. And we will also post this one on YouTube. We had lots of persons requesting the YouTube link from the last session. So we will share this one as well and all the conversation corners moving forward. So ladies and gentlemen, if there's no further questions, no further comments, it's been a pleasure to host this conversation corner once again. Krisnan, thank you so very much. I know you were here in Barbados on a slight vacation. Hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you all the very best in your journey as you travel back to Montserrat, where you're practicing now. I wish you nothing but success, and I'm sure all of the persons on who wishes you success in your journey. And we hope that you do not stay in Montserrat, that you can come home and continue to spread your wings and on your journey of transformation and transforming everyone's lives. Just one final question: Who do you think is going to win the World Cup, Krisnan? I wanted to ask that earlier as well.
Well, first of all, it stressed me that it brought me great distress that the West Indies did not go through. However, was it come out today's game? I actually was very busy today.
It's India, South Africa in the final.
Definitely India. Definitely India. India got it, hands down.
India has it. Okay.
So we'll team, currently unbeaten. People said you deserve a bad day, but they're the most consistent team. India, definitely.
Alicia is saying South Africa, Cassandra is saying India. So we have a mixed review. I'm leaning towards a South Africa upset. But we'll wait to see. I want everyone to enjoy themselves. Remember, tomorrow is National Day, Flag Day. Wear your colors, wear your Bajan colors, wear your flags, carry them out when you're going to work. And remember to be intentional in everything that you do. Face your problems, face the issues that you have. Let us address it. Let us be transformative. Let us all strive to be star agents. And ladies and gentlemen, for the final time tonight, thank you so very much. God bless. And until next month, same time, same place, Thursday, last Thursday of the month, 6 to 7. Feel free to join us. NTA Conversation Corner. Follow us on social media at NTA Star Agent. And for the final time, thank you. Good night and God bless. And she also said that the policy is active and still not signed up and not signed up, and yet you're